Such a move could have major political and legal ramifications. Joining me right now to discuss possible legal impacts of Flynn. Potentially Flynn flipping. Avery Friedman, a civil rights attorney and law professor in Cleveland, and Richard Herman, a New York criminal defense attorney and law professor, joining us from Las Vegas. Good to see you all. Happy Thanksgiving weekend.
Hey, Frederica. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, so Richard, to you first. What are the chances that you believe, Flynn's lawyers are cooperating with the Mueller team because they may be trying to, cut a deal, especially after, 6 months ago, Flynn said, he has an interesting story, if only he would be granted immunity. But now, potentially, could there be some real deal making in the works?
Well, admittedly, Fred, it's all conjecture right now because we don't know. But based upon my experience in complex multi-defendant federal prosecutions, this behavior by Flynn and his attorneys would indicate to me that either one, they already have a deal and he's been cooperating for months, or two, they're looking to make a deal, and so they want to make Mueller and his team happy, and they want to send a signal that they are with the government now. They're not helping Trump or Trump's people. This is very serious, Fred, because this was the first three-star retired general to align himself with Trump. He was there during the campaign. He was there during the transition. He was there for 24 days after the after Trump was inaugurated. And here he was. Just remember visions of him standing on a stage, rah, 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 lock her up, lock her up. Ain't that a bitch? Because he might get locked up right now.
Well,
that's just how life is. But the government has slam dunk prosecutions against him for financial forum disclosure violations, Fred. It's open and shut. They have him criminally. They can get him slam dunk. It's his son. That's who he's going to look to protect here, and that's why he's going to make the deal. And we'll see what information he's going to give up.
So, Avery, let's keep it clean. So now what about talk about immunity? Is that something that would still be on the table if he were cooperating, even though, months ago, that was not something that the Mueller team would entertain? Is it ever too late to be granted immunity?
Oh, it's never too late. I don't think we're going to see immunity. The deal here is going to be what extent he's going to be behind bars, in my judgment. And I'm also in agreement. The real provocative crime here, beyond failing to register, failing to disclose, making false statement, is this question of so-called extrajudicial rendition, which in layman's term means a possible kidnap in conjunction with Turkey in getting their hands on a cleric, a Turkish cleric who's holed up in the Poconos right now. So when you look at the four major felonies and you couple it with that and the fear of impacting Michael Flynn Jr., there are very, very good reasons that Michael Flynn has got to do a deal. Whether it's going to result in jail time is a completely separate issue, but I have very little doubt that we're going to be looking for a deal, and he's going to be talking about what was going on in the White House.
Right, because Richard,
Fred,
the primary focus was to be about, Russia, its influence, et cetera, on the U.S. elections, how complicit, compliant, perhaps even the Trump campaign was. But now, Avery underscoring the whole Turkey connection, the cleric. I mean, it has been broadened out considerably.
Sure.
Okay, that's a sideshow for the Mueller investigation, and that is problematic, and there may be criminal violations with that. But what Mueller is focusing on with Flynn is Flynn's meeting with Ambassador Kislyak with Jared Kushner, where the issue of sanctions was discussed. Because if there was a quid pro quo, Fred, and if Flynn testifies that Trump told him, you tell the Russians, if they help us win the election, I will ease up the sanctions. That's what Mueller wants here for the collusion. That's why they're doing that, Fred. And we're going to see how far Flynn goes, because listen, it could go anywhere for him with getting his son off the hook and him getting, a few years in prison, 10 years in prison, or no time in prison. It depends upon substantial assistance. But it has to be believable,
off the hook,
Fred.
To borrow your language, it really does mean leading to a bigger name, right?
Yeah.
Well, sure.
No, he has to give
Sure.
up. He's going to give up Jared Kushner. That's who he's going to give up. That's who
Well,
he's
I
going to
don't
lay it out
actually.
on the
We
table.
we don't know that.
Jared
we don't know
Kushner.
that. But that
Well,
meeting.
we
that
don't know
meeting
anything,
concerning-
Avery. But it's conjecture
right.
here, based on the facts and that meeting with Kislyak and all the failure to turn over documents and failure to comply
well,
with
that's not.
subpoenas.
Wait a minute.
And requests.
Failure to
There's
turn over
something-
documents.
They're hiding
is not a
something here,
crime.
Fred. It's going to come out from Flynn's going to tie it together for Mueller.
Huh. Okay, Avery?
This is very serious
I think
for
that
Trump.
December meeting with Sergei Kislyak, the ambassador, is going to be critical, because why on earth would Michael Flynn, after meeting with the FBI, lie about that? So the bottom line, with all the other crimes, failure to register, failure to disclose compensation, I mean, this is serious. And whether he's motivated to save his son or not, is I think part of the motivation to say, hey, look, I don't know how much time I got to do, but limit it. I will turn somebody over. I will flip. And I think that's exactly what
So
we're
is the
gonna
White
be
House
seeing.
sweating right now?
Got to be.
Yes, the White
Avery?
House is
Gotta
sweating
be.
And Richard?
big time, Fred. They're sweating big time. I don't care what Sekulow says. He's wrong. He's just there to make Trump feel good. This is very, very serious, because Flynn also, in addition to collusion, has information concerning obstruction, and that's the #1 count that they're going to get Trump on. I believe
Obstruction is number one. That's
and
exactly
Comey,
right.
And Flynn was right there in the middle of that, Fred. I'm telling you, he's going to give a treasure trove of information for Mueller.
All right, looks
It's
like
very
you're in
dangerous.
unison on the ladder.
Dangerous for Trump.
We'll see.
right.
Very dangerous.
We will see. All right. Thank you so much, Avery Friedman, Richard
care.
Herman. Always good to see you. And especially,
Pleasure to see you.
I
See you,
am
Fred.
grateful
Take
to
care.
see you this Thanksgiving
We're grateful
holiday.
for you, Fred.
You bet we are.
All right. Thanks so much.